Right, you guys are welcome to my review. I'm an hybrid shooter. My name is Adigo Kyolawi. I do a lot of weddings, I do portrait, and I enjoy doing all this as well. So I do videos for wedding as well. Right, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe. If you like any of my video, please smash that like button for me and click on the notification bell to get notified each time I release a new video. I've had my Sony A7S III for just less than a year right now, and this has been my go-to, my workhorse lens that I always use. Now, this camera will set you back, like I said, like around £3,500, and a lot of people still rave about this camera. But I just don't want to come out, like 6 months ago to just talk about this camera. I actually want to use it extensively before talking about this camera. And I've used this camera in a lot of situations, in different conditions. And now I can boldly give my long-term review of this Sony A7S III. So I want to go through things that I love about this camera and things that I don't like. Then, whether this camera is for you or not and who this camera is for. Right, let's start with the first thing that I love about this camera. This camera handling and also the form factor. So the handling is very good. The grips good. It's got a lot of buttons, that you can customize to use for different things. And for me, that is great. Also, it has the full HDMI that you can use to connect to external monitors and things like that. You have the headphone jack that you can use. You also have the USB-C that you can use to not only you can use it to charge, but also do other things as well. So there's a lot going on for this camera that I love when it comes to handling and the form factor right here. For me, that's a good thing as well. If you look on top here, another thing I love about this camera, which will be my second thing, is the ability to customize those 3 buttons. You have 1, 2, 3. You can save your settings to them. For me, that is a plus for me. So I set, for example, if I'm doing a talk like this, like interview and all that, YouTube, I have a settings for that, which I've already stored up. I saved, and I'll also have one for like 4K 120, which I've already set up and saved as well. So I have different things I've saved up using those 3 mode. For me, that is very important because if I'm going somewhere, I just know, okay, right, I can just click on change it to 1 and I know I'm in 1 setting, change it to 2 and I'm in another setting and all that. So for me, that is a great thing. The third thing that I love about this camera is the autofocus system on this camera. The autofocus is just amazing. Like, you just need to track your object. Once you click on the screen, and if you click on the screen like that, you tap on it, it's just gonna like follow your subject. It works 95% of the time and you don't have to worry. You just know that it's gonna work. Like, I'm not saying that it's perfect, but it works, and you just want something that works for me. And you can also use the manual settings on this camera as well. If you have a manual focus lens, it also works as well. You can rack focus, you can do all that cinematic stuff. All can be done, on this camera. Now, the fourth thing that I love about this camera is also the flip out screen. So you have this flip out screen. For me, I thought it wasn't that important, but trust me, once you start using a flip out screen, you don't want to go back. And like people say, and that's true for me as well. And since I've been loving this, because sometimes you don't want to set up external monitor. I'm using an external monitor now, but you don't want to set it up at all times. I just, flip the screen and I can see myself. I know what I'm doing. I know everything. The autofocus is good, but it just helps you to see yourself and monitor the event and everything that you are doing. The fifth thing that I love about this camera is the ability to shoot in different codecs on this camera. You have different video format that you can shoot in, like XAVC, SI, 4K, XAVC SHD, and there are also other ones that you can shoot in. You can also shoot in different frame rates. Also, you can shoot in like 4, 2 to 10 bit, which allows you to push your colors, to manipulate your colors. All these codecs are well compressed for your computer to edit. As a videographer, the worst thing is to not be able to edit your footage properly on your computer. You're having these playback issues and all that. But using this format, you can pick the one that works for your computer. Even if you have older computer, you can also find a format that works for it, and you still get good images, but easy to edit on your computer. For me, that helps my workflow. It helps me to focus on my creativity, to keep working, and that's a good thing. 15 or 16 I want to talk about is the dynamic range on this camera. I mean, it's up to 16. I would say like 12 to 14 is the maximum you'll get, but the ability to be able to recover your shadows and your highlight, preserve your highlight and things like that, you can do it on this camera. And that's the reason why you want to buy this form of camera. I mean, for most filmmakers and videographer, dynamic range is very important, because you don't want a blown out image, although you still have to set your camera settings and do the manual setting properly, but you don't want something that's probably something happened in a different condition and you overexpose a little bit and you cannot recover that, and this is a paid job, then you're in deep trouble. But using this camera, you have flexibility whereby you can recover those things and preserve them as well. For me, it's game changing, and it's a very good thing to have. The number 7 thing is the ability to record professional good quality straight into your camera without having to worry. Now, I have a boom mic, like a mic on top of me, and a K3M on top of my camera, which allows me to just record directly into this camera without having to sync audio in post. Audio is very important when it comes to production. In fact, I'll say 60-40 in my own opinion. Audio is 60 because people can't watch your video without clean video. Maybe it's just reddish, or people will still watch it, but if they can't hear you properly, they probably will not want to they'll probably turn off or switch somewhere else. So for me, audio is very critical, and to be able to get a digital audio sync directly into your camera, for me, you can do podcasts, you can do interview multiple people, you can record up to 4 channels using the K3M, and it's just, for me is life-saving. In fact, I would say is one of my own best features on this camera, because I don't like syncing audio, and so that just gives me the ability, especially when I'm doing things like YouTube like this and just more here and there. I mean, if you're still doing probably a big commercial work on a film, or probably you still want to sync audio, but I think for most of the things that I use it for, like weddings, interview and stuff like that, I think this just works for me, and I know that I'm getting something that is a very professional, good quality audio. The next thing I want to talk about also is the ability to record in RAW. So you can record in RAW on this camera. That means you can record externally on external monitor. Your RAW, why do you need to record in RAW? RAW will give you more flexibility, obviously, to be able to probably change things like ISO, like your white balance when you're editing, doing your post-production. For me, that is also very important. And it's not something that you need to do all the time. Obviously, if you're doing big productions or commercial and things like that, you're getting paid. I think that will save you a lot. If you probably shoot in RAW, it will help you. But the only caveat to that is space. You need more space as well. And also, with shooting in RAW, you need an extra monitor, which you probably need to purchase separately. For me, the battery is one of the things that I really find very, very good, that people don't really rave about this camera. I've used other cameras that, battery is a big problem. Blackmagic, even GH5 and GH6, their battery are so bad. Ability to have a battery that can record up to like 2 hours or 2 hours plus, sometimes 4 hours on this camera, depending on the format or depending on the codecs or the format that you're choosing, is just mind-blowing. For a complete day wedding day, you just need like 3, I would say maximum 4 batteries. And I like to keep it simple. I like to keep it light like this. So I know if I can get like 3 to 4 batteries, I will never run out of battery throughout the day. I mean, that alone itself just gives you peace of mind, and you know that you're using something that the battery is very good. So for me, that's another win. The battery on this thing is just very, very good. For me, that's one thing I also love. So let's talk about things I feel can be improved on. First, the compensation, what do you call it, the focus breathing compensation on this camera. We have that on the SONY A7 IV, which I will also do a review about. That thing is so good, because what that means is that when you are forced, let's say you are changing from one object to the other, I think that's the easy way to just explaining. Like if you see people racking focus from one object to the other, I mean, when you have focus breathing, especially it appears in most of the current lenses, so you will see you can notice the movement on the edge that something is moving. But when there's no focus racking, everything just works seamlessly, like, natural. You don't even notice. You just see something changing from one to the other without anything on the edge being noticing. And you can't notice anything on the edge. For me, that needs to be on this Sony A7S III because it's more expensive, and also obviously it's a more video centric camera, but it's on the Sony A7 IV. I'm hoping I will come on this Sony A7S III so that you can use it with all the G Master lenses, because when I'm using my Sony A7 IV, especially when I have lenses that have focus breathing, I'm just confident that although you crop in a little bit, but I'm safe. I know if I use it, I'm gonna be good. And for me, I think that is one thing that I feel like needs to come on it. Apart from that, when it comes to price, I think it's fairly priced, so I don't think I have issue with that. Now, the last thing that I didn't mention earlier on is the overheating. I have never experienced any overheating issue with this camera. I've used it in different conditions. Not once have I seen any overheating issues. So in terms of a camera being reliable for you in all conditions, I think that's one reason you should also consider this, as a videographer or filmmaker. You know that you're safe using it in different conditions overall. So overall for me, I think this is the best video camera I've ever used as a filmmaker, as a hybrid shooter. For me, it does everything that it says it would do, and it do them well. It doesn't go overboard, doesn't have 8K, it doesn't have all those things. But imagine you're having 4K 120, buttery smooth, slow motion, 4K 120, and the beautiful color that comes out of it. You also have 4K 64, 4K 24p. These are all embedded into this camera, and you have so much flexibility, so much things to do. This is a future-proof camera for me. It's a camera you can have for the next 5 years, 6 years. You don't have to worry because it's future-proof. It's got a lot of system in it that you can still be using for the next 4 or 5 years without needing to buy a camera. And in the tech world, 5 years is a long time, if you know what I mean. So for me, having this kind of camera and been enjoying using it. So for you, it depends on what you're looking for, what you want to use it for. But I think if you're looking for something that works well, something that will not disappoint, something that will do what you want it to do, something that is very reliable, I think this is a camera to look out for. And that is my review today. Finally, this camera is for people, for all kind of people. If you're shooting wedding, if you're shooting documentary, if you're shooting interview, whatever you're shooting, I think this camera is for you. As long as you're into video, even YouTube, influencers, whatever you want to do, this camera is for me, is for everybody that actually can afford it, right? That's my review today. If you like this video, don't forget to smash that like button smash the like button on this video as well, and leave your comment below as well. Let me know the camera that you're using, what you like about the Sony A7S III, or let's talk about things that you don't like as well. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.